Now in this video, I want to talk about building your vocabulary and focusing on understanding essential grammar rules. These skills are really essential for you when understanding the TOEIC test and can help you with overall English proficiency. I will also provide some practical strategies, exercises, and real-life examples to enhance language skills. Okay, let's get started. So you can first start with creating a vocabulary list. When you create a vocabulary list of TOEIC words and phrases, you can review them. Then we would create flashcards to create flashcards of these words, having one word on one side and then the definition on the other side. Then you would want to practice reading the word, testing yourself if you know the definition, and reviewing the definition for feedback. Flashcards can test our knowledge, and you want to read flashcards regularly and then engage in conversations with other people using those words. The reason why flashcards are actually good is because it follows learning and memory principles. There's been studies where university professors, if they intermittently interrupt their lecture with tests, it actually enhanced student learning as measured by exams, even when the material in those quizzes within the lecture that was interrupted was not even the same material that they were tested on later. The reason this is because when we are tested, it may boost our anxiety a little bit, but that prepares our brain for the same or different material that we are going to learn at that moment. Also, feedback has shown to improve student outcomes as well. When we receive feedback after being tested, we increase in the material that we learn. That's why flashcards are super helpful, because not only does it test our knowledge, but it provides feedback or the definition on the other side that we can read to test our knowledge. So this is an exercise you can do. You want to read these flashcards regularly and then engage in conversation with other people using those words if you can as well, to apply them in real life scenarios and situations. You'll have much better success if you can read the text with those words in context as well, such as reading business articles that are using those words, as well as using them in conversations with others. Now again, another interesting thing about testing, and what we want to know about testing, and something we may often overlook, is that frequent tests on materials, as some professors may use, is beneficial. And in one particular study, students that were asked to read and study 2 short paragraphs. Then they were asked to read one of the paragraphs. For the other paragraph, they were asked to write down all the material they could remember. Then a week later, students only recalled about 40% of the ideas in that paragraph. However, if the students were previously tested on the material, they retained and could recall 55% of the material. This tells us that there might be something beneficial with those online tests and quizzes that you might be able to find, as well as this course, which will focus quite a bit on testing your knowledge. Now, when we are tested, we are asked to retrieve memories for something, because it takes mental effort again. When we consciously get our brain involved in a deliberate and effortful exercise, we can usually have greater success. So frequent tests might be a good thing. Struggling to remember also improves memory too. When you are challenged, it really helps you to retain the material you learned, because the brain is more involved. So again, using flashcards, quizzing yourself, and testing yourself, even with different sources, may help you to recall the information better, even when you don't know the material that well. The research I mentioned before was research by researchers Roediger and Butler in 2011, and it highlights this phenomenon known as the testing effect. Because when we are tested, we are actively trying to retrieve the information, and this strengthens neural connections that are associated with that knowledge. This active retrieval and this retrieval process really enhances long-term memory compared to a passive review of memory or material that we learned. Being tested also enhances learning by providing a more diverse encoding strategy through using different testing methods such as fill in the blank or multiple choice, or even a test question that asks something in a different way. That variability is important to help us understand the underlying concept that we are trying to learn. With testing, there is often also feedback and correction too, which I mentioned is important, especially immediate feedback, because this allows us to learn and to identify the errors and to make error corrections, basically to correct our knowledge and improve. So just to start, you may want to choose maybe 10 words from a vocabulary list that you make that you want to learn, and attached I have provided you a list of words you can choose from. And you can create flashcards by writing the word on one side and the definition on the other. You may also want to review these daily by spending, say, 10 to 15 minutes each day reviewing the flashcards. But remember, a daily practice is more effective than, say, going over them for an hour once a week. This is known as spaced practice and massed practice in the psychology of learning and memory. And spaced practice is spending just a few minutes even each day will enhance learning and increase overall comprehension. Alright, we'll see you in the next video.